got a huge performance from a bunch of them on Sunday. Just what's it been like this season, having so many of them, having to rely on so many of them? Sure, there's good and bad from that.
Yeah, let's just look at it from the positive. I would say like seeing their development throughout the year is pretty rewarding as a coach. Like when you have young guys that you think about the first time they step foot in the building for rookie mini camp to, having Samp lead the team on a breakdown after practice or in the meeting room, and like just seeing their roles increase, seeing their development take place, see like tangible evidence of where they've improved on the field, both mentally and physically. Like that part is exciting. That part is a lot of fun to work with. I really haven't looked at it as a negative throughout the year. We knew we were going to have a young offense.
Tommy Rees didn't hold back one bit, and honestly, he didn't have to. Everything he said about Shedeur Sanders hit with truth and proof that this kid is just built different. The grind, the poise, the pressure. Shedeur eats it all up and still shines through. Now the whole league is waking up and realizing they might have been sleeping on something special. Tommy's words didn't just show respect. They told a whole story about what this young man's been fighting against from day one. From the moment he stepped on the field, the noise was deafening. People doubting him, whispering that he only got there because of his last name. They acted like his bloodline opened doors instead of his hard work and sleepless nights. That kind of talk can crush a player, but Shedeur flipped it into fuel. Every throw he makes feels like a statement, like he's saying, I earned this. And when one small mistake happens, critics treat it like a scandal instead of a growing pain. It's wild how they keep holding him to veteran standards before he's even had a fair chance to grow. Inside the building, it hasn't been easier either. Some coaches and commentators act like rookie errors define a player forever, instead of being part of the learning curve. There's barely any patience left in the game. And don't even start with social media. One bad drive becomes breaking news while weeks of steady progress get buried like it never happened. Every little misstep gets magnified, every quiet victory ignored. Then comes the endless comparisons. Fans and pundits measuring him against legends before he's even finished his rookie notebook. They ignore what makes him special right now. And being a young, high-profile player, that comes with a twisted double standard. Confidence gets labeled as arrogance, emotion gets called weakness. It's unfair because it strips him of the space every athlete deserves to stumble, learn, and rise again.
Yeah, I think hard to win on the road, hard to win as a rookie. Continue to improve. I think Shedeur's done a really nice job this week of continuing to prep.
But here's what makes it powerful. Even with all that pressure, all that judgment, all those eyes waiting for him to fall, Shedeur keeps climbing. He's still standing tall, still growing stronger, and proving every single week that he's not just another quarterback. He's rewriting what it means to be ready for the spotlight. Shedeur answered all the noise the only way real players do, with work and calm. He didn't argue, didn't lash out, he just kept showing up and proving he belongs. Every week he learns, adjusts, and steps up like someone twice his age. The ones chasing headlines miss it completely. Real growth doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with quiet, steady progress under pressure. And that's exactly what Shedeur's been doing, even when the deck's been stacked against him. He's been handed challenges he didn't earn and criticism he didn't deserve, but he never folded. He just kept doing the job. That kind of discipline and grit doesn't just earn respect, it rewrites the whole story over time. If people want to judge him fairly, they should give him the same patience they'd give any rookie learning on the fly. Then watch how fast he turns all that doubt into solid proof. What Tommy Rees said just exposed what Kevin Stefanski's been struggling with all season: how to let a young quarterback grow without smothering him under mixed messages. Shedeur's been learning at lightning speed, but every week feels like he's playing in two different systems, one on the field and another in the coach's office. Instead of building a solid foundation around him, the staff keeps shifting their tone, their trust, their expectations. It's chaos disguised as leadership. And yet, through all that, Shedeur keeps making plays. He moves the offense, keeps drives alive, and never lets the noise knock him off balance. Even when the coaching direction feels shaky, he stays cool, calm in the chaos. That tells you everything about who he really is. He's not just talented, he's mentally tougher than most veterans out there. Here's the real truth: Shedeur's been holding up his end, but the system around him hasn't always returned the favor. Stefanski loves to talk about process, but too often his words sound like excuses meant to protect himself, not his quarterback. A young QB doesn't need politics or hesitation. He needs a real plan, real trust, and honest leadership. And somehow, even without all that, Shedeur keeps showing up, learning fast, and carrying pressure that no rookie should ever have to handle this early. He's proving every single week that he can rise above the flaws in the coaching approach. And let's be real, he's making that staff look better than they actually deserve. What Shedeur's doing out there isn't just improvement, it's survival. He's navigating a system that should have been built to lift him up from day one, not test his limits at every turn. Tommy Rees's breakdown made it crystal clear. Shedeur isn't learning because of the system, he's learning in spite of it. He's being asked to juggle patience in the pocket with quick creativity on the move, a balancing act that even veteran quarterbacks struggle with. But here's the crazy part. Every time something breaks down, Shedeur doesn't point fingers. He steps up and takes responsibility. That's not just maturity, that's leadership in motion. Still, you gotta ask, why is a rookie quarterback carrying the burden of fixing chaos that isn't his fault?
Sort of the process of getting him more comfortable to stay within the pocket.
I don't think there's like a magic solution here, right? I think you just got to continue to show evidence of, hey, this is a clean pocket. This is what.
Why isn't Kevin Stefanski and his staff building cleaner protection, clearer reads, and a stronger system so Shedeur doesn't have to keep solving problems mid-play? It's wild to think he's out there doing double duty, quarterback and problem solver, while the coaches stand by giving speeches about process. The truth, Shedeur's showing growth. Most rookies can't even dream of this early on, and he's doing it while being hit with mixed messages from the sideline. Stefanski keeps talking about trusting the process, but where's his actual process for developing a young quarterback? Where's the accountability for the busted protections that keep forcing Shedeur to run for his life just to make something happen? Maybe instead of nitpicking one play where he didn't stay in the pocket, the coaches should be asking why the pocket keeps collapsing in the first place. Why does a rookie have to do all the heavy lifting, reading defenses, adjusting routes, creating on the fly, and rescuing plays that should have been dead just to keep the offense alive? And yet, through all that chaos, Shedeur stays calm. He knows when to take off, when to extend, and when to stand tall. That's instinct, pure football IQ that no coach can teach. He's turning broken plays into highlight reels, turning pressure into patience, and turning every ounce of doubt into cold, undeniable proof that he's that guy. The real question everyone should be asking is this: if Shedeur's already showing this much progress under a staff that hasn't fully had his back, how sky-high could his ceiling be with a coach who truly believes in him from day one? Imagine what this kid could become with someone who actually builds around him instead of making him play superhero every Sunday. When is Kevin Stefanski going to realize that nitpicking the rookie isn't leadership? Fixing the broken system around him is. Tommy Rees hit the nail on the head about what makes Shedeur special. Even when everything collapses, he keeps his eyes downfield like a veteran. That's awareness, calm, and unshakable trust in his own ability. Most rookies freeze up or tuck the ball in panic when things break down. Not Shedeur. He stays cool, scanning for options, always trying to create something out of nothing. And he's doing all this while still trying to master an offense that's been shaky, inconsistent, and far from protective. His growth hasn't come from a perfect setup. It's been built out of pure instinct, focus, and hunger. That's what makes his story different. Shedeur's learning curve isn't slow, it's explosive. Every game throws him into the fire, and instead of melting, he studies the flames and comes back sharper. He's proving that he's not just talented, he's disciplined, smart, and unbreakable. When he stands tall in the pocket, it's because he trusts his vision. When he escapes and makes magic happen, it's because he knows he can. That balance, knowing when to trust, when to improvise, takes most quarterbacks years to figure out, but Shedeur's already showing he can master it. He's not just surviving those tough moments, he's flipping them into lessons that are shaping him into the quarterback he was born to become. And here's the crazy part. Everyone keeps talking about development, but that word doesn't even fit Shedeur's reality this season. He didn't get a soft landing or a clean path. He got thrown into chaos and told to swim. While other rookies were getting slow, steady growth and clear roles, Shedeur had to claw for every snap. He wasn't eased in, wasn't protected. He was denied reps early, pushed behind vets who weren't delivering, then tossed into the spotlight with no real prep. And even through all that, he never complained. He just went to work and turned every unfair moment into proof that he belongs. And that's what makes this story hit even harder. Shedeur didn't just walk through the fire, he built his name inside it.
Outside of the pocket, like when is it time to go and when is it time to stay in there? There was a third down there in the during the game last week where it felt like we could have stayed in there instead of flushing out to our left. And he's the first one to recognize those things. And then, the play extension to Jerry on the big in cut. We have a little pressure off our right side that made him move right. And then
every time the staff made him wait, every time he got passed over or questioned, he responded with more focus, more grind, more production on the field. He didn't ask for sympathy. He demanded respect through results. And now that the spotlight's finally on him, the truth's too bright for anyone to ignore. Tommy Rees's comments didn't just highlight progress, they exposed how much Cleveland has leaned on Shedeur to save their own mistakes. He's the one pulling the offense out of breakdowns, the one turning chaos into chemistry, and the one showing the heart that leadership is supposed to come from the top. Stefanski preaches structure, but Shedeur's been the one giving this team structure when everything else around him keeps falling apart. That's not just rare, that's something you can't coach. And the wild part? He's doing all of this while the playbook keeps shifting, while protection breaks down, and while the coaching tone keeps changing from week to week. He's learning through chaos and somehow winning through it too. Most rookies would crumble under that pressure, but Shedeur just gets calmer, sharper, and more dangerous. You can feel it. Every snap looks more confident, every decision more controlled. It's like he's teaching the system how to work instead of the other way around. Now imagine if that same energy was matched by real support, by a coach who fully committed to him instead of second-guessing him. Imagine if Cleveland built the offense around him instead of making him adapt to whatever patchwork plan survives the week. Shedeur's ceiling isn't just high, it's scary high. The kind of potential that changes a franchise's entire identity. The Browns need to wake up and realize what they've got. A young quarterback who's already proving he can lead, adjust, and deliver under pressure that shouldn't even be his to carry. Because right now, Shedeur isn't just saving plays, he's saving their season. And if the organization doesn't figure that out soon, somebody else will. And they'll build the dynasty that Cleveland could have had first. What's wild is how obvious it's become. Shedeur isn't the one who needs to change anymore. It's the system around him that does. Every time he steps on that field, he's fixing things that shouldn't even be his job to fix. The protection breaks down, he adjusts. The play call stalls, he improvises. The pocket collapses, he escapes and still finds a way to make it work. That's not luck, that's leadership under fire. He's making the impossible look routine, and the more he does it, the more it exposes how unprepared the coaching staff has been to handle a player this gifted. Tommy Rees saw it immediately. Shedeur's not just surviving, he's elevating everything around him. His composure is unreal for someone this early in their career. While the coaches hesitate, he acts. While the critics nitpick, he delivers. And while most players would be drowning in frustration, he's using it all as fuel. You can see it in the way he reads the field, in how he trusts his arm, in the patience he's learning snap by snap. What Stefanski doesn't seem to get is that his rookie quarterback is outgrowing the limits of his own playbook. Shedeur's instincts are faster than the system. His decision-making is sharper than the designs being drawn up for him. That's why he keeps bailing the team out of bad calls and busted protections. He's playing chess while the staff's still stuck playing checkers. And the longer they keep treating him like a rookie instead of the leader he's become, the more it's gonna show who's really holding this offense back. You can feel it building. The fans know it, the players know it, even the league knows it. Shedeur's not just developing, he's transforming right in front of us. Every drive, every throw, every escape from pressure adds another piece to the legend he's quietly writing. It's no longer about potential, It's about proof. And if Cleveland doesn't catch up to his level soon, someone else will hand him the keys and let him take off for real.
So I would love to say, hey, there's one thing that we do that gets him to stay in the pocket. I think it's just the teachable moments that come up throughout the course of a game to show him what a clean pocket looks like. Or if you know we got a route concept versus coverage we really like, you might be a little bit more willing to hang in there and let it develop.
Because one thing's for sure, Shedeur isn't waiting for permission anymore. He's already leading, already proving, and already showing that the Browns' future starts and ends with him. At this point, it's not even a debate. Shedeur has become the spark keeping Cleveland alive. Every snap he takes, every drive he commands, it feels like he's dragging the entire organization forward by sheer willpower. He's not just adjusting to pressure, he's mastering it. That kind of presence changes locker rooms, changes mindsets, and it's starting to change how people see the Browns altogether. You can sense the shift. Teammates are feeding off his energy, the crowd's starting to believe again, and even national analysts who once brushed him off are now realizing this kid is the real deal. But the uncomfortable truth still hangs in the air. How much longer can he keep carrying a system that keeps asking him to be perfect just to survive? That's not how development works. That's how burnout starts. And if Cleveland doesn't protect him soon, physically and mentally, they'll be repeating the same mistakes that have haunted this franchise for years. Tommy Rees's words hit deeper than just football. He was pointing out a culture problem. The Browns have a young quarterback doing everything right, but a coaching staff that still acts like believing in him is risky. It's almost like they're afraid of what his success might expose about their own shortcomings. But you can't hold back a player built for moments like this. Every time they doubt him, he proves them wrong in real time, with a throw, a drive, a comeback that shuts everyone up. And what's crazy is, he's just getting started. Imagine once the system actually starts working for him instead of against him. Imagine when he finally gets a full season of trust, consistency, and real protection. The numbers would explode and the entire league would have to deal with a version of Shedeur Sanders that's fully unleashed. Because right now, even with all the chaos, he's showing flashes of greatness that no coach can take credit for. That's all him. The composure, the drive, the fire, it's real. He's not waiting for validation anymore. He's taking it. And if the Browns don't get their act together fast, Shedeur's future might shine brightest somewhere else. So yeah, the league better start paying attention. This isn't hype anymore. This is the rise of a new quarterback Cleveland can't afford to lose. Even the whole injury narrative turned into its own drama, with plenty of people believing it was more of an excuse to sideline him than to protect him. That's not development. That's survival under pressure. Shedeur didn't rise because the system lifted him. He rose because he refused to let that system break him. While the coaches kept talking about progress like it was some big accomplishment, the truth is painful. Kevin Stefanski failed to build a real plan for his most valuable young player. Instead of guiding him step by step, Stefanski let chaos and confusion take over. Miscommunication, mixed messages, and inconsistent decisions shaped Shedeur's rookie journey instead of structure and trust. The kid had to teach himself in real time, correcting his own mistakes, carrying the pressure that was supposed to be shared by an entire staff. He didn't have a stable pocket, didn't get consistent play calling, and definitely didn't have a coach who believed in him fully. And yet, he still led, he still worked, he still fought for every inch like it was his last. That's not the product of a system, that's the power of one player who refused to be overlooked or underestimated. Shedeur didn't get developed by Cleveland. He developed himself. And the fact that he's still standing strong, still improving, and still proving people wrong says more about his strength than it ever will about Stefanski's so-called process. Tommy Rees's words hit with a truth that can't be ignored. Shedeur's growth didn't come from coaching, it came from courage. Every bit of respect he's getting now was earned the hard way. He turned every setback into a statement, every benching into motivation, and every missed opportunity into proof that he's built for this league. So when people talk about development, they better understand what that really means. It's not about being handed a perfect situation, it's about surviving the worst and still shining through it. Shedeur didn't just survive, he thrived where most players would have folded, and that's exactly why his story is far from over. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and share for more. We'll see you on the next one, because Shedeur's story, it's only just getting started.